Hey, welcome to another Stick It to the Man video for this week. Getting back into the groove of posting these regularly. I was watching a video from the great Tony Robbins this week. A very simple video. He sits in a room with a guy who he was doing a podcast or something with. And he asked him, he said, look around the room and look for everything that's brown. And the guy looks around and he's like, okay, close your eyes. Now tell me what was red. And he's like, there's not much. He's like, okay, now open your eyes again, look for everything that's red. He's like, do you see a lot more red? He's like, yeah, I notice a lot more now. The point that Tony Robbins was making was that we find what we're looking for. He's like, I bet that you found some stuff that was beige and called it brown just because you wanted to feel good. I bet you found some stuff that was maroon and called it red because you wanted to feel good. You wanted to feel successful. I was like, yeah, I did. And Tony goes on to make this point about how we find what we're looking for, what we believe. We have all these unspoken beliefs, all these immediate judgments we make within seconds of different things that affect our whole thought process, our belief systems about things. And looking at light specs is no different, right? We see a certain brand name, we see a certain feature of a product, and we immediately make snap decisions. One of mine is like, if I see a light without a heatsink, I'm immediately like, oh man, is that a junk light? Like I immediately, so fast, start to think, ooh, is that junk? How are they dissipating heat? Can that hold up long term? You see an off-brand, China brand driver. I'm like, that's probably junk product. They're not even telling you the driver brand, right? Like immediate snap decision. And then with some big brand names, we immediately think, ooh, quality, that's going to be good stuff, right? The question I would pose here is, we find what we're looking for, right? So is our belief immediately, hey, if it's not one of these big name brands I know, it's junk? Because it's not just in the lighting industry. In many, many industries today, we're starting to see a global economy play out, wherein a lot of smaller companies, smaller brands are bringing product or manufacturing product in the same factories with the same components and the same assembly as all the big names. But you're not paying for the hundreds of millions of dollars of marketing budget that the big brands spend. And by the way, the big brands aren't doing most of R&D. When a lot of big brands come out and they're like, hey, we came out with this new innovation. Look at this new thing we created. Guys, 90% of it China came up with. I'd be happy to discuss if you guys want to fight me on that. 90% of it, the China factories actually innovated, came up with the idea. They came to the US market and said, hey, look at this cool thing we made. And the big brands now come and say, look, we're so cool. We created this new feature. Well, guess what? Everybody can go to the factory, buy products with that same feature. It's 90% of the time not unique to that company. The reason I bring all this up is we make snap decisions. We actually put together bid specs all day, every day. We have a whole bid team that all we do is we look at specs, we do VE packages, and we put side by side the spec product with our product and several other products we carry, just to show very clearly side by side how do the actual specifications compare. And time after time, we are accepted as equal or better over and over and over again. We've been doing this for 5+ years. We've done tons and tons and tons of jobs, millions and millions of dollars of lights, and we're doing great stuff because we're selling great product and people are starting to realize that. Road Lighting is still a very small brand name, but my challenge to you would be the next time you look at light specs, when you hear your brain make that snap judgment, you feel yourself immediately go, oh, reel yourself back and ask yourself the question, okay, why do I believe this about that? What if I dig into this? What if I dig into that? And start to actually look at the specifications, look at things side by side, and compare. Is this equal or better product? Is this the same kind of value I'm getting? And what am I paying for over here that I'm maybe not paying for over here? It's important to ask yourself the questions and then be okay with whatever decision you make. I'm not saying you have to go with a value engineered product. Some cases people want the spec product and that's fine. If they want to pay the extra money for it, that's completely fine. But you have to be comfortable with why is that decision being made? Because most of the time you're doubling, tripling the budget for a project's lighting by going with a spec brand, name brand product that is pretty much exactly the same as another product with a different brand name. That is my one for today. If you have comments, questions, if you want to talk, I would love to talk to you. Shoot me an email. We can talk at sales@roadlighting.com. Drop me a comment below, and we look forward to talking to you again next week.